Good morning. It is Monday, September 23rd, 2024, back here for Daily Shakeup 9:55. And I want to take a journey back into my past. This is a picture of me walking on the Camino this is probably late May 2017. And if you know much about that journey or my journey, you know that it ended up in a book called Just One Step. And the subtitle was Walking Backwards to the Present on the Camino Trail. And there's a whole chapter in there about walking backwards, literally, for me on the Camino when I had my ankle and shin issues. And I ended up walking downhill backwards most of the time because it relieved the pain in my body. And then I turned it into a message, a metaphor about life and what it means, it looks like to walk backwards. And people often say, well, what exactly does that look like? Well, the simplest way to put it is to do the opposite. That may make you think about George from Seinfeld, the opposite episode, but it is pretty literally that, or something completely different than what you had planned on or anticipated. And the real point here is that, the old definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, obviously, the conclusion is we need to do something different, but often we try and do something a little different. And I get it. We can change, big change can start with incremental change. And there's a bit of a paradox. I mean, remember the title of the book, Just One Step, because how do you walk 200 miles? One step at a time. So, yes, there's the small step process, but a lot of times we really have to shift our thinking, especially when things aren't working or we're experiencing stuck or feeling stuck. And I just want to share this with you because over the just last week, I was with a friend and he was telling a story. And as he finished, I went, "Oh, that's an amazing example of walking backwards." And I haven't had a chance to tell him. He was actually telling a group. I'm going to reach out to him and let him know. But here's what struck me in the story. This was a number of years ago in his life, and he was, I'll call it, estranged from his father. His father had not shown up for him in his life. In his view, had left him, had not been present in his life, and he was angry. And as he grew into adulthood, he planned to go visit his father out of the country. And I guess the word I would use is confront him with his anger, to say, basically to ask him this question: why weren't you there for me? Why weren't you there for me? So that was his question. His question was focused on, tell me why you weren't there for me. So who is that story about? That story is about my friend, right? He wants some clarity for himself about what he drove his father's decisions. But he never asked him that question because somewhere along that journey of getting there and before he got sat down with his father, he shifted the question to this: tell me about your life. What was your life like? And what he shared was just so compelling and heartful and empathetic and compassionate. And that his father told him the story of his life, and he started to understand his father differently. It didn't mean that his father's lack of presence in his life was okay, but he found that the anger diminished. And it ultimately led to a conversation about how he was impacted. My friend was impacted by the way his father showed up in his life, but he didn't start with that. Now, we never will know what would have happened if he had started with that, but I'm pretty sure it would not have gone as well as my friend described the actual conversation went. Because father and son had a conversation where came from a place of curiosity, not judgment. That was the key. He was coming from curiosity, not judgment. And curiosity is the opposite of judgment. Curiosity is walking backwards as compared with judgment. So I honor my friend. I'm going to honor him more directly by sharing the story with him, but today I'm sharing it with you. Think about, where in your life does different mean walking backwards, doing the opposite of what your inclination is, doing the opposite of what you think you want to do. Instead of focusing on you, focusing on the other, instead of being judgmental, being curious. Those are real life examples of walking backwards, and it's a game changer. Love to hear your thoughts. See you next time.